first season of Wednesday was super fun. It was very Tim Burtony. It really made a ton of noise right out of the gate. We can all agree it's responsible for sending Jenna Ortega to the stratosphere. But I think season 2 of shows is the hardest season to make because you're kind of caught in the middle. Are you trying to replicate what happened in season 1 to try to farm some of that success? And you're still also trying to find the footing of that show. What does the show mean? What does the show represent? All that kind of shit that some shows don't even fully get into till around the 3rd season. And with Wednesday season 2 releasing in 2 parts, I didn't hear much noise about this season of Wednesday. It could have just been my personal algorithm was filled with other stuff. Even with the first part came out, there wasn't much noise revolving around Wednesday. I didn't hear anything, whether it was good or bad. Now, with it releasing in 2 parts, I'm too impatient. I won't be able to watch 4 episodes, then wait a month for the other 4. So I just waited for them all to come out so I can binge them all at once, just like I like it. We have been waiting for this show to come out for 3 years, so what's another month? But the question is, did this season disappoint? Let's get into it. In Wednesday season 2, Wednesday returns to Nevermore willingly, which she never usually does when it comes to school, thinking she's got it all figured out. When all of a sudden her powers start to fade away, and on top of that, new threats start to linger, as well as other threats start to reappear, with Wednesday just wrapped up in the middle of all of it. I think because it was released in 2 parts, even while watching it in one sitting, this season felt like 2 seasons to me. One of the main storylines that is introduced in part 1 gets concluded in part 1. So first there's a killer on the loose, and then she finds out that Wednesday has a stalker, and then she's also popular, which is an issue for her for obvious reasons. It's also Pugsley's first year at the school, so we're dealing with that. And then Pugsley gets a zombie. Morticia and Gomez are asked to stay on school grounds. We have a new dean introduced, and he's over here running around doing shady shit. Enid is in her whole phase. Wednesday is getting all these visions that she does not want, and she's doing her best to try and change. And then there's just a lot going on. So I can understand the criticism that this season is definitely more cluttered and feels very overwhelming. I personally did not feel that way. I found myself in a worse position. I was not caring for these side missions stories, which actually might be worse. But that's what I think is awesome about this show, that they make it so that you eventually do care about those things that you had no interest in or gave 0 shits about. And it's all because of how well the characters and all the moving parts just weave in and are so interconnected with each other that as soon as what you think is the main storyline is resolved, one of those other side missions takes its place as a top dog on the food chain, and now that's the main focus of the season. And that just keeps happening to the point where sometimes it feels like you're just left with side missions, but it's still entertaining because they put them in fun scenarios like going to camp, or which might be the best episode of the entire series is this little Freaky Friday situation that happens. And even within those episodes, there's always seeds planted that eventually blossom into the big new conflict. So there's a lot of intentional misleading with you trying to figure out who, what, where, and why. Yes, I also agree with the criticism that some of it is pretty predictable, but there are other big reveals that are probably the best thing I've seen from the entire series. That was really cool. You know, there's the one big reveal in this season that just really stuck with me. I really enjoyed how that was put together. It kind of felt like it was something planned from the beginning, something that they want to eventually get to. Didn't feel like something that was just, plucked out of Burton's ass. And I really enjoyed that reveal. That was like, that made this whole season for me. I really enjoyed it. So the more I thought about this way of storytelling, I guess it is kind of satisfying to resolve every little plot point. It does give you a sense of completion. A lot of shows do the opposite, where they drag that out the entire season, especially when as an audience member you figure out, or they show you what the hell's going on, but the main character doesn't know the secret or whatever, and that is just dragged on, and then when that character eventually does figure out what the hell, and they have this just explosive reaction, you're sitting here going like, yeah, fool, we been knew that that's what's going on. This show does not do that. I like that it resolves the conflicts and we move on because there's a new conflict that arises. While I was watching it, I did get worried like, okay, that was the big conflict. We resolved it. What the hell? What the hell are we gonna do now? I was invested in that storyline, and it's done. Now what? But they managed to keep introducing brand new things that were ultimately entertaining, and that's what I really enjoyed about this show. I really like the idea of turning Wednesday into a detective. I feel like it fits perfectly for a show, especially like a Netflix show like this. I feel like that fits the character perfectly, and it also gives that character a goal, something to solve, something to try and do. I feel like the season introduced a bit more humor. There's a couple cartoony bits here and there. There were a few lines of dialogue that really got me laughing, especially just Wednesday's one-liners. Some of them were just so brutal that I couldn't help but laugh. I really enjoy the Addams Family cast. I think it's cast perfectly. Every single character of the family. Jenna Ortega's a bona fide star. We know that. She is the perfect Wednesday. Her deadpan delivery, she's funny without trying to be, and that goes to good writing. But what I commend her the most about is just the little things that she does that adds so much to the character. And that's really what I enjoy from her performance. Just little things like how she really doesn't blink. How when you look at her, it feels like every single hair on her head has a purpose. The way she walks, the way she talks, the way she rolls her eyes, the way she everything. And you can see how great she is, especially in episode 6. Because everything that I mentioned is done differently, and it's super, super noticeable. It's very easy to contrast both characters on that episode. It's just obvious what's going on. Try not to spoil. But Jenna Ortega's performance was great.
Most people would have FOMO, fear of missing out.
Phobia, fear of being included.
But we knew this, right? Just like we knew that Catherine Zeta-Jones is a smoke show. She's not as dramatic as past Morticias, I would say. I feel like past Morticias have tried to be elegant, and then Catherine Zeta-Jones just is. I really enjoy that they gave her way more to do this season. There's family drama between Wednesday and Morticia, and that dynamic is very interesting. You know, it's your typical I'm your mom, so listen to what I'm saying. And Wednesday has that attitude of like, she thinks she knows more than she does. And that dynamic is played with a lot. I could see it getting a little annoying, but they're like bickering throughout the entire season. There's a couple times where I keep finding myself on Morticia's side. It's kind of like, Wednesday, just stop being so stubborn for 1 second. But that's literally how the character is. We get more Pugsley too. He's cool, I guess. He's kind of goofy. He offers a little something. Gomez is Gomez. He looks exactly like the character. He's great. And I'm always impressed with how much personality Thing can show. It's a hand. He's walking around. He's flicking things. I think he's the character that shows the most range out of every single character. And that's not a diss to the other ones. It's just how great that performance of the hand is. I want to shout them out also for sprinkling a little bit of Mexican culture in there. That was really cool. There was Dia de los Muertos shout out. There were a couple of Mexican words here and there referring to like customs or spells or stuff that they would do. And I thought that was really, really cool. I would like to see a little bit more of that. This is the only Addams Family that really embraced the whole Mexican thing. The fact that they are Mexicans, like, it's something that when you watch the old ones, it's not really referenced. They're Addams. Like, you just thinking that they're these weirdos. But this Netflix show really sprinkle a little bit of the Mexicanness to them. As a Mexican myself, I really, really love that. Steve Buscemi is the new dean. And although he comes off kind of predictable, it's always cool to see Steve Buscemi in anything. He's a legend. He's great. But yeah, he's probably what you would expect that character to be. I wasn't expecting to see Christopher Lloyd. He's this professor who's basically just a head in a jar, but they digitized him, and sometimes he does look good. Like the CGI for that does look kind of good, but sometimes his head is just off and his ears are too big. It could be them trying to give it more depth. Like, how would it look while being inside water, like his head is underwater? But it just looked too CGI for me at times. I really wish they just green screened his head on there. I thought that would have looked way better. So that was kind of distracting. Every time I saw him, it just kind of didn't feel right. It had this uncanny valley thing going on. Just have him stick his head in a hole and say the lines, and then you put that head in the jar, and that's it. I don't know. But I really, really enjoyed the concept of that character. I thought that was really cool. There's also this really cool cameo I was not expecting that fits. Kind of wish we get more of that character in the second season. I doubt it, but there's a possibility they could. But yeah, that was really cool. I want more, you know. Try not to say who it is. I really don't want to spoil. Goes without saying, the music is absolutely impeccable. Danny Elfman knocks it out of the park once again. The music throughout the entire show is great. Like, I wish I'd just leave it on the background of my life. It's fantastic. I really enjoy this world. Its aesthetic, of course, its atmosphere. It has hints of horror here and there. I feel like it went more into the horror than the first season. There's a couple shots that are really, really cool. You can tell that there was a little bit more budget this season, and you can easily see it on screen. I love the wardrobes of every single character, even people that are not, in the school. I really can't be that subjective because I'm really biased to Tim Burton's. As a 90s kid, I adore Tim Burton. I love his vibes. Even though that he has a style, every single world of all of his movies feel different. It's honestly genius how he does that. Because you could easily have a crossover probably with Beetlejuice and the Addams Family somehow, but the styles are still a little bit different from each other. So as a Burton fan, I was super stoked when we got a little old school Burton short explaining this story of this one student from the past. It's your classic Burton short, everything you want. It's in black and white, it's a stop motion, it's creepy as all hell. It's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I don't really have a ton to complain about this season. It's a fun show. That world really just draws you in, and that's just the magic of Burton, I believe. And yeah, although at first there's a lot going on, like I said, it eventually ties in very, very nicely with each other, which I think is the most impressive thing about the show, is really the writing. How they manage to plant so many seeds and things that you don't think are that important eventually bubble up to become important. And I'm really trying not to be biased, but I'm a huge sucker for schools that help kids teach magic and anything Burton. I think season 2 of Wednesday is actually great. I enjoyed it more than the first season. I was concerned that because the first season has to explain everything, and it's the first time seeing that world, that the second season would struggle with that, but I think they did a very good job. I think that the stories are interesting. I think how they interweaved all the stories are fantastic. The characters are fun. Yeah, it's a fun time. I really, really enjoyed it. Just to show how great they are with the seed planting, the end of this season planted 3 potential seeds for next season. And again, some potential storylines I'm more interested in than others, but excited nonetheless. With the number one thing I'm most excited about, and I can't wait to see, is Johnny Depp as Cousin It. But those were my thoughts on Wednesday season 2. The internet seems to be a little bit split on this season. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What did you like? What did you dislike? What do you want from season 3? Any and all Wednesday thoughts, let them fly down in the comments when we're down there. If you enjoyed this video, made this far, let me know by dropping a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.